Hey there, neighbors. Today, we're going to be visiting Mrs. Perry, and she's going to teach us all about how to write a thesis statement. Now, the thesis is the main point of our essay for the PSSA, so let's make sure we pay close attention. Let's go see her. Hi, Mrs. Perry.
Hello, Mr. Curran. I'm so glad you could come today.
Good to see you.
You too.
I've been going around to all the teachers in the English department, and they've been talking to us about the PSSA test and the different aspects of the writing on the PSSA test. So, our neighbors out there have been watching.
What's your point?
Well, I guess the point of it would be that I want all of our neighbors out there in North Hills to be able to do as well as they possibly can on the PSSA test.
What's your point?
That's a good
Never
question.
mind me. The reason I'm asking so much is I was just reading some student work, and my favorite part of every student essay is, in fact, the thesis statement.
And what is the thesis
The
statement?
thesis statement, what a good question. Now you've come to a point, Mr. Curran. The thesis statement, if you notice what I have on the board, something that I show my students, the thesis statement is, in fact, the main point of what you're writing about. The thesis statement is an arguable point, and that's really important too. So when you're writing a PSSA essay, when you're writing any essay, you want to make a point. You might have lots of great things to say, but you want to make an arguable point. So you don't want to just say there are 20 birds that live in the United States, but you want to make an arguable point. There are 20 beautiful birds that live in the United States, something that someone might disagree with.
Right.
Now that's a really important point of a thesis statement. Another really important point, speaking of points, do you like my hat?
Very nice.
Thank you. It's my favorite hat of all of mine. I'm really into points. But another important point about the thesis statement is where it goes. When you're writing a PSSA prompt and you're trying to answer that as best you can, the thesis statement should go at the very end of that introduction. Have you talked to the boys and girls about introductions yet?
Not yet, but we will be getting to that.
Then this is really important point. The thesis statement belongs at the very end of that introduction. Not the beginning, but at the very end. We sometimes use the word focus statement too. Have you heard of that? Focus statement is not just your point, but it brings in 3 of your main ideas as well. So that's something else you can add depending on what you're writing.
Excellent.
Now, if you're into points, I'll be glad to share with you some of mine. I like pointy pencils. I like pointy pins and needles.
Woo.
And I even like pointy tools. It's my favorite tool. But my favorite point is the one that my students make in their essays.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so glad you
That
stopped
was very
by.
informative. So the whole point, speaking of points, of the thesis statement is to make a point.
Exactly.
The thesis is the main idea,
You got it.
and everything else supports it.
That's the point.
That is the point. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Curran. So wonderful of you to come.